Okay, we started. We're officially started.
Oh, we've already started.
I guess.
Okay.
I don't know. Do we have a starting point?
Let's start now.
We have started. We have officially started the podcast.
Welcome to This Epic Disaster with Rick and...
Who are you?
Cheri.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Harry. Harry.
I was called that in school. Harry, Sherry.
If you're Harry, what's my name?
Dick.
No, that's another dude. What's a female? What's a female?
Wait.
There are some females
Why do you
named
have
Rick
to be
and-
female?
I'm just saying, Harry, you're Harry.
No, Harry as in H-A-I-R.
I understand that, but I'm just saying if your name was Harry, you're a dude, and what's the female ick? Is there one? Is there a female?
There's a lot of female icks, I'll
There's
be
not
honest
one
with
really,
you.
Is there?
Um,
Nikki?
Nikki? Yeah, I've known several Nickies.
Nicks, but
And
they're-
I've
but they're
actually
not-
known
people don't call
a
them
Nick.
Nick, do
No,
they?
I've known a Nick. I went
I mean,
to
there
high
are
school
some
with a Nick.
Rickies that are.
I went to high school with a woman named Nick,
Uh-huh.
and she preferred to go by Nick.
Uh-huh.
She was gorgeous. And we didn't get along in high school. And that's unfortunate because, damn.
Nick's your pal. Nick's your buddy.
She could have been,
You know what
and
that's from, don't
she
you?
could still be.
You know what that's from, don't you?
No.
It's like Elliot. Don't name the baby Elliot. Elliot's a boy who eats paste.
What is that from? Oh, my gosh.
Nick's your buddy. Nick's your pal.
Tell me.
It's a sure thing.
Oh, God.
John Cusack.
None of our listeners are old enough to remember that movie.
That's a good movie. Watch it. I watched it this year. Hey, it's this big disaster. We start off with a disaster of a conversation. We actually, speaking of conversation, we've kind of talked a lot since you came over.
We did. We got into a pretty deep conversation. I mean, not really deep, just involved.
And my voice is getting hoarse, and I'm parched, and so I think it's time for some liquid refreshment.
All right, let's do that.
Liquid refreshment, as in live beer review.
Okay, let's do that first. So today we are having something that you picked up while I was already in your house because you had to run out, and I just used my key to your home to come in.
Yep.
It is called Wild Heaven. Wild Heaven?
Wild Heaven is the brewery.
Oh, Wild Heaven beer in Atlanta, Georgia. Sorry. The beer itself is called Ode to Mercy.
Yeah.
And it is their special winter ale.
Nice. And it is winter.
It is. It is January something. And it is, this particular brew is, come here, Toffee. This particular brew is an imperial brown ale aged on bourbon oak chips and spices.
8.2% alcohol by volume.
I mean, it's not shabby.
Nope.
So what we're going to do is we're going to open our beer. We're going to try it. We're going to just taste it first and let you know our initial impression. And then we're going to drink it throughout the podcast and let you know at the end what our rating is 1 through 5.
Yeah, for you new people, that's our live beer review. We do it once per episode.
Yep.
We should do it twice per episode.
I mean, I'm down.
It gives us an opportunity to. It's very fragrant.
It's fragrant and
brew.
it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a
beautiful.
nice little kind of a, what do you call that color? I want to say golden, but it's red. It's kind of a reddish amber, maybe a little amber color.
Maybe. Well, it's a brown ale. Ow, 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 ow.
It's got some.
Hold on.
It's got some. Kind of a soury smell in a way. It smells like if it was a sour, I think kind of that sort of a smell to it.
Sorry about that.
Tell me,
My
what do
dog
you
just
think?
ripped my headset off of my head when I gave her a treat because she was wrapped around it, and
Sitting
that's
in the studio.
my fault.
Gotta have some dog sitting.
I apologize.
Dog's gone crazy.
I haven't even had an opportunity to open yet.
Crack that beer open and have it. I'm going to
my
try
God.
it right now. What I'm noticing, not a lot of head. I don't know what the
I like a lot of head.
I don't know what the fizzy factor is, but all right, tasting it.
And anyone that knows how I like to pour beer knows what that means.
Right, not a lot of carbonation in this beer.
No, not really.
I mean, I just drank it. I'm saying from a drinking standpoint, which
Wow, it is fragrant.
Uh-huh.
Holy. Okay. That smells yummy.
yeah, almost no carbonation feels like.
All right.
Okay.
Well, at the end of our podcast, we'll let you know our final thoughts. Sometimes our first impression of a beer can be different than what our final impression is.
Which is why we drink it through the whole podcast.
If you consider last week's podcast, in which we both originally said that beer was really flavorful and it was yummy. At the end, Rick could not even finish half of his because it was so flavorful.
Let's do Would You Rather. I got some other things I want to talk about, so let's get the Would You Rather going.
Let's get the show on the road.
Let's see what we can do with the Would You Rather. We always play a little game of Would You Rather to start off the conversation. As you know, this is a conversation podcast.
Between the two of us, because there's only two of us here.
And you dropped a little redstone. And redstone
So
sounds
red
like...
is the category, and the category of red, if I'm not mistaken, is pain, discomfort.
You are not mistaken. All right, so Would you rather pull out your own big toenail with pliers
Fuck, no.
or pierce your nipple with a dull nail?
I'd rather... Oh.
Which would you rather do? Now, you've done both of those, just for the hell of it, on a Saturday night.
From as I recall, I would say that best case scenario, if my tetanus shot is up to date, I would much rather pierce my nipple with a rusty nail.
Having to pick one, I think that's the one I would pick.
Because damn, pulling out your toenail with pliers,
that's weird.
That's a form of torture.
I have a double pierced ear. 2 pierces, and I did them both.
Yes, you did.
I pierced them both myself.
Yes, you did.
I don't like other people sticking things in me.
But you'd have to stick something in your nipple.
I know, but at least I would be in control of doing that. So,
or you could rip out your toenail.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
How many times can I say rip out your toenail?
I'm not going to do either one of them, but here I go. I'm going to drop a stone.
All right, what do you got?
I also got red. That's the first time we've both had the same thing, I believe.
think you're right. Okay, so this one is, you just put it in the wrong place because I almost read you the exact same question, which you've already answered.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, you turned it around the wrong way.
Son of a bitch. Sorry.
Sorry, I still do that.
All right, here we go.
That. Son of a bitch. Okay. Pain, fear, discomfort. Would you rather stay up for a week straight, which I've done, or...
That's probably discomfort, I guess.
Yes. Or stay in bed trying to sleep for 3 months.
I'll stay awake for a week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Because you can get over that shit quick.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of fun. You're hallucinating by the end.
Oh, absolutely. 2 days later, you're hallucinating. But trying to be in bed for 3 months, unless you have a medical reason to be there, it's God, you would do so much damage to your body.
Yeah. All right, let's get on with the show. I want to talk about a few things. I want to talk about the podcast, but first, let's talk about some things that I meant to talk about last week and I forgot to talk about. All right, so we did a thing where we did our 20 best things of Atlanta.
Did we have 20 of them?
We had 20.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty awesome. I did post them for those who are interested. If you're not from Atlanta, still look at them. You might come to Atlanta, and there's some cool things to do. I wanted to post, this is sort of a personal little thing I wanted to post, and I forgot to do it. Our favorite liquor store, beer store.
Yes.
Now, there are a lot of great ones. You know, we've been to a couple. Greens is a really cool one down in Pines. That's a nice one. We've gotten some beer there.
Giant over in Toco Hills is pretty good.
Down the street from us, where I get my beer a lot, S&N Package Store. Now, the reason I want to mention it, and it's not S&M, it's S&M.
So that's S as in Sam, N as in Nancy.
Yeah, like snot nose. Yes, S&N. Package store. There's nothing really overly special about this place. If you walk in, it just looks like a small little
drab liquor store.
Liquor store.
It's packed to the hilt.
But the dude who runs it, and I don't know if he owns it, but he runs it. He's the nicest guy in the world.
He's super nice.
He's so polite. He's very friendly. He'll chat with you. You don't feel like you're at a liquor store where no one cares. He like
recognizes
your buddy.
you.
He's fun. He's just a cool dude, and he makes the experience fun.
And he asks you if you spend more than 2-3 minutes looking for something, he will ask you. He will come up to you. He's got great customer service skills. What is it you're looking for today? Can I recommend something? Is there anything that you can't find that you would like? Maybe I can carry it. I mean, he goes on and on.
Yeah, and he just, I'm going to have him on the podcast. Seems like a cool guy.
Maybe we
He's
can.
Obviously from, and I'm not going to, somewhere in the Middle East, let's say. I don't know, a lot of shop owners around here are like Pakistani, Iranian, Indian, whatever. There's a lot of countries he could be from. I think it'd be cool to get his story.
And because you're American, you can't tell.
There's a lot of immigrants in here.
The
Atlanta.
Clarkston area
Yeah.
happens to have the highest level of refugees of any city.
And I don't know that he's that, but I'm just saying there's a lot of different cultures here, and it's fun. I
is
think
true.
it'd be great to talk to some people, and he's somebody that it would be cool. But even if we don't get him on there, I just wanted to mention that's my personal favorite little package store. And fortunately, it's not too far from my house.
It's not, which is
just
good
drive
for
down
me
there.
because then I don't have to wait so long for you to go get something.
The other thing I wanted to mention that I didn't mention last week, I wanted to give a personal thanks to our good friend Koozie Mike Poole. He bought a piece of my art for Christmas.
Thank you, Mike. You know
That's-
what? You might have been the reason I got the gift I did for Christmas.
I asked people to buy stuff if they wanted to. I never force people. And of course, I'm an artist and I make my living as an artist. And people are always welcome to go to my art, rickbaldwinstudio.com. You could see some art. Now, some of that art is not original. Some of it is prints, but you can always get original. And a lot of times if you see a piece and you're like, I want the original, you can send me an email and I'll work it out to where I can get the original to you if I can find it.
Some of them are hanging in my house, so you better offer something
Yeah,
good.
you said you had 8 pieces, and I'm going to kind of. I need to quiz you on what 8 because I was thinking I don't know that I have 8 pieces that are in your house. But anyway, but thanks to Mike for buying a piece. I got to ship it out to him. It's in a frame with glass, so I've got to have it specially packaged up and mailed out to him, and I got to try to do that this week.
UPS store all day long.
Yeah, but you got to wrap it in bunches. I mean, I don't want
No,
that,
they do that.
I don't
They
want
do that for
I don't want
you.
the glass broken.
And
Well,
then they'll insure it
yeah.
if you pay for that.
But that's all expensive and stuff, and he's already paid for it, and he hasn't paid for shipping, so I gotta.
We'll
work
figure
it all
that shit out.
Yeah, but still, that's a cool thing.
That's awesome. Thank you,
Supporting an
Mike.
artist at Christmas, and I want to thank Koozie Mike for doing that. And anybody else who wants to get some art, you know where to go now.
So he's also on Instagram at Rick Baldwin Studio and Facebook.
Yep, all over the place. You can check it out. Check out my stuff.
Maybe I'll take photos of, they won't be good photos, but photos of the pieces hanging in my house and post them on our site so people can see what I'm talking about.
Well, I wanted to see. I mean, I know a few that are in your house, but anyway, I don't know any more than that.
Okay.
But I thought that was a cool thing. So thanks for supporting the arts and for supporting me. Because, when you're an artist, that's how you make your living.
It has to be.
And people don't understand. Sometimes people are like, oh, would you take $25 for this? And it's
No.
like 20, that's how much one paintbrush costs.
It's like, that's
Do you
how much
realize?
gas it cost me to get to your place.
That's right.
No.
Sometimes art seems excessive, but if you have to buy the stuff to be an artist, it's crazy. It's insane.
Which is why I love being your friend. Part
So
of
you
the
can get
reason.
it free?
No, because all I have to do is go to the art store, buy the come on. I want to say ingredients because I'm thinking baking.
Supplies.
Thank you. Buy the supplies necessary and bring them to you and say, do something.
And you also get to be my, pardon the term, but guinea pig because, I'm trying to work on more portraits now, and I just did a portrait of you, and I gave it to you for free because
Right.
I'm just kind of experimenting around. So
Which was weird because it's a portrait of me looking angry.
it doesn't look angry; you look serious.
I
You
look
like
angry.
a superhero. You're like serious. You're like, well, I'm going to kick your ass.
Okay, so superhero. I can go with that.
That's kinda
Let's
super-
talk about superhero.
I think it's superhero-ish.
And you know what I love is that the name you gave it, I could be, you named it Steel.
Huh?
That's what it says on it. It says Steel on it.
No, it doesn't.
Yes,
Where
it
does it
does.
say steel?
Not on the image, but on the package that you gave me. It says Steel.
Oh, that's a package for something completely different. That's actually someone's name.
But think about that. I could be Captain Steel because
could
I
be
would be
Captain
a
Steel.
serious person, right?
I didn't. That's by the way, that wasn't.
That's coincidental.
Yeah, it's coincidental.
I love it.
I can tell you where that comes from. But anyway, I know.
But
think
don't.
I just named it Cheri. I think.
Oh.
I liked it though. I thought it was cool. I thought it was a pretty good likeness, and yeah, you get to be the.
Because Sherry's not a superhero.
You'll get to be the guinea pig for a lot of my works.
Which is fun. Next,
do.
we're doing nude shots.
No, we're not.
Oh. Damn it.
I don't think so.
Okay. If I just take them and send them to you, would that be awkward?
No, you've done that before. Anyway, so what I would like to talk about is the podcast. So let's talk about where we are because. All right, so here's the weird thing. So we're at a year now on this podcast. Mm-hmm. I think it's kind of cool. We have gone exactly a year. Now, we had said this before in that we celebrated a year of podcast, I think, last month. But we're really year time-wise now.
From when we first posted.
We posted them in January, so we're actually gone for a year, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I started thinking about it today, I think, And I was thinking about our original mission, our original format for the podcast, and how much we kind of moved away from it. And I just kind of wanted to kind of really sort of go back and think about originally what we were trying to do, where we are now, and what works and what doesn't work, which is kind of fun. Mm-hmm. Originally, we were thinking This Epic Disaster. Now, This Epic Disaster refers not just to the podcast, which at times can be quite a disaster. If you listen, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But also our personal lives, which also frequently are disasters. And it's just about, I would say the podcast as it is now is about the disasters of life and how to survive them.
Which we do every day.
Yeah.
Which is almost just saying it's a lifestyle podcast, if you will. I mean, because it's just, when people ask me, what's your podcast about? I honestly don't know what to say. What I say is it's just morning radio show nonsense.
Yeah, kind of.
Because that's kind of what we've become.
It's entertainment.
Now, is that what we set out to do?
When we started out, we were going to be like, I think the idea was we were going to talk a lot about disasters, specific disasters in life, which we kind of do, but we sort of made it more about the disasters that are us. And I think we've been pretty successful along those lines.
I think so.
Yeah. And we did some stories, and I think we had some things specifically about disasters, but I kind of liked, over time, I just started thinking we don't really want to peg ourselves into a certain thing. We don't want to be a certain category. We don't want to just do certain things. We kind of want to let it open up to where we can talk about anything we want to talk about. So we moved away from a single kind of concept to more of just talk. I don't know. I like the fact, well, our lives are enough disaster content for the entire podcast.
And we could go on for years.
Sure. We could stock this thing forever.
Sure.
I like, we're always suggesting that we get feedback from our audience, because everybody's life is a disaster.
I mean, everybody that you know
Yeah.
is just trying to keep it together.
Yeah, pretty much. So I just feel like I'm totally fine. But I was just remembering about how when we first started, that was sort of the format we were going to go for, and we really just kind of, I think we just thought, our lives are enough a disaster as they are. Let's just leave it like that.
Let's just leave it.
So what we have done is we sort of moved into more of a kind of a discussion, entertainment type of podcast. But I do feel like that we'll be going back and picking up some of the earlier things. I like, because we started this in the Life and Kill podcast, but I like the idea of keeping facts in, because that's something we're both interested in, kind of trivia, and
facts about random shit that
Yeah.
you don't really want to know. And so you probably won't Google yourself.
Right.
But if we can provide those facts for you,
Heck yeah.
let's do it.
And some stories, maybe some internet stories, news stories, crazy, weird people stuff kind of
Like
things.
that, like it.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we both have our favorite things. You like those weird, stupid, weird dad jokes for whatever reason I don't
They're
understand.
not stupid or weird. Okay, maybe
And
a
I'm
little
really
bit.
into the misconnections,
Which I hate.
I think everybody loves those, and I
No,
keep doing them
they
because they're
don't.
great. Everyone wants people to find love, and so and I think we'll end up finding other things too. And in fact, we've got some stories that we're going to be talking about in a few minutes. But I was just thinking, if someone just started listening last week, maybe they saw our 20 Atlanta things and they were like, "Oh, I'm going to listen to this podcast all the time."
Right.
What are they going to find? They're going to be like, "What is this podcast about?" And I feel like we should tell them what it's about. So let's wrap up the podcast in a few sentences. So I'm saying that the podcast basically is about the disaster, the epic disaster that is all of our lives, and how to survive it.
That's a great wrap up.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's about what it is.
Yep.
And keeping a good sense of humor about it.
And why not? I mean, it's going to happen.
Uh-huh.
You're going to fail. You're going to suck at something. And you're going to have to turn around and try again. So, yes, that was a disaster. Now, how do we move past that?
You and I, we were in a relationship. We started out in a romantic relationship, which bombed.
God, that was a while back.
And
Almost
now,
10 years.
And now we're friends. Mm-hmm. And so we took something that was a disaster, and we made it into something positive.
And beautiful.
Yeah, and so that to me is what the podcast is about. I think that's the foundation of our podcast is our relationship, which is something that was this. It crashed and burned, and we made it into something else. Mm-hmm. And we're constantly doing that, and I think we're doing it with everyone else. Our listeners, I think, participate, and it's about rebuilding. It's about taking shit and making it gold.
And that takes a lot of polishing.
It does.
I'll be honest with you.
Or just coating something really well.
We could always
Covering it up.
gold plate it and call it gold plated shit.
That reminds me.
What? What?
I don't really want to get into this.
Okay, then don't.
All I'm going to say is this. This is a weird thing.
What?
So like 2 days ago, I went outside and I found these piles of poop, dog poop.
Yummy.
Where our dogs poop, covered in teal blue hair. I mean, long, like 2 to 3 inches long strands of teal blue hair.
I have a better story.
Okay. Well, let me tell this one.
Okay.
And it was on lots of different piles of poop.
Wait, so the teal blue hair wasn't part of the poop?
No, it was. So here's the deal. No, it was on
the poop.
The poop. So my first thought was, what have they eaten? They've
Right,
eaten
right,
something.
exactly.
But then I started thinking, well, wait a minute. If they ate something, it would be in the poop, not on the poop.
Right.
This was on the poop. Long hair.
My hair is purple now,
and lots
by the way,
and lots of
people.
it too. So at first I thought it was a dead squirrel because it's kind of grayish.
A teal blue squirrel.
It's kind of grayish blue, so it looked kind of squirrel color.
What were you
A
smoking?
little bit iridescent, kind of.
A teal blue iridescent squirrel.
Well, I'm saying blue. It's kind of grayish blue, but depending on how the light hits it, it's sort of teal blue. So I couldn't figure out what was going on because there were several different piles of this poop. One of the piles had really long hair. And so I started thinking about it.
Okay.
And what we have come to the conclusion of, and this is really something I wasn't planning on going into. I'm sorry, I
but
apologize.
I enjoy it.
We changed our dog's diet recently to homemade food. So we give them a diet now of turkey, that we make, fry up turkey, round turkey,
right,
in with rice and vegetables. Mm-hmm. So I remember seeing on some old rice dishes that have been in the refrigerator that I pull out and forgot that they were in there, and then I open them up and they have really long teal blue hair on them.
No.
The rice in their poop is growing like a fungus or whatever, mold or whatever, that's long and teal blue, and they're growing their own hair on their poop. And
so they poop, and then being exposed to the elements, the rice left in the poop is growing.
Isn't that weird? So now I've realized I've discovered a cure for baldness, and I'm going to market a tube of rice dog poop. And when you see these dudes walking around with teal, blue, green hair that look like a squirrel, it's really they've bought my product.
They want hair,
yes,
not mold spurs growing out of their heads.
Yeah.
So it's two totally different things.
Oh, it is hair. It feels like hair. It's all hair.
Wait, you touched it?
I had to pick it up. I didn't know what it was at first. I thought it was a squirrel.
Like with your hands you touched it?
I touched the hair. I didn't touch the poop. I thought it was a squirrel. I was like, oh, I got to throw the squirrel away. And I picked it up by the hair, and it picked up the whole pile. See, this is disgusting, and I apologize. I hope people aren't eating while they're watching this.
They're not watching anything, they're listening.
And then I started seeing other piles of it, and then I didn't know what it was at first. I thought it was like some kind of pod
people
yes,
in your backyard.
Alien thing. And then we started talking about it, and then we realized that I think that's what it is. But I really, I always like to look at the silver lining and try to see if I can figure out a way to, make a little money off of it. And I kind of feel like I've discovered this is a cure for baldness. Now, I'm not saying directly that people have to put dog shit on their head, although it wouldn't hurt. But I feel like that's the beginning of it. Go in with your scientists and figure out what's causing this. The rice that's growing this stuff, whatever if you could find out what it is, I think you can, and maybe you could make the color You could change the color. You could have some black and brown, red and blonde. Today is Kiss a Ginger Day. I'm not sure what you need to have ginger-colored dog shit hair, but
an Irish setter.
I don't know. Some red rice, maybe some red beans and rice. But anyway, that's what today is.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Isn't that weird? That's weird. I didn't mean to go down that avenue, and I apologize. But that's the kind of disasters that we're referring to when we talk about this epic disaster.
Wow. Okay. So just, to continue on that same theme for just a second. I was in my backyard this morning, as I often am, because my dog has to go out there and do her business.
Got to make some hair.
Got to make something.
Yeah, some wigs.
She loves these toys that are basically rope toys. They call them floss toys.
Yes.
Or the toys that are made of, just they're quilt. I don't know, not quilted, but they're braided.
Sure.
So she eats these a lot, and she tears into them.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is they get into her digestive system, and then her poop comes out the color of the toy.
Yeah.
Mixed, of course, with normal dog whatever
stuff.
So about 6 months ago, she had a purple floss toy, and she ate the shit. Well, she ate a lot of it. So I go out to the backyard today, and even still, there are these little okay, it's rained several times.
Sure.
So the dog poop itself is gone.
Yes.
But there's still these little purple dog poop shaped things in my backyard because I'm lazy and I don't pick up. So it's funny to me. My backyard is getting quite colorful because Christmas just happened and she had some green and red toys too.
Oh, wow.
So now we have purple and green and red. And yeah, she's
Well, you're giving
decorating.
me some ideas because I'm wondering, what if I color the rice like red or blonde?
Perfect.
And then I'm thinking if you add a lot of water to it, maybe the hair will survive, but the poop will disappear and I'll be left with the hair. I'm really feeling like there's going to be a business in this.
Okay, right now we call patent. We call patent.
No one else can have it. You scientists who suddenly darted out to work on this, you can stop now because we did that. Hey, I wanted to ask you a question. All right, so this is a weird thing. I'm a coffee person, right?
Yeah.
You like coffee, sort of?
I mean, I like coffee flavor. Like one of my favorite ice creams is coffee flavored ice cream, and I will drink coffee on occasion, but it's not one of those things that I do every day.
I'm a huge, big coffee person. My wife is a really big coffee person, and so we have this. So I started getting into pour over coffee, which is a whole different podcast, and we'll talk about that right now.
Or slow pour.
I love the pour over coffee. That's my favorite kind of coffee. So, but we also have a coffee maker. My wife makes her coffee in her coffee maker every day, and I always do the pour over. On the weekends, sometimes she'll make a full pot, or if I'm up the same time she's up, she goes to work before I do. I always say make a bigger pot because I want some of that too. So she did that the other day. She made a full big giant pot of coffee in our coffee maker.
Now, is it a drip maker?
It's a drip coffee, little coffee maker thing. So she made it, and the coffee is being made, and then it's one of those coffee makers before the pot is done. You can pull the coffee out and pour you a
It'll
cup
stop dripping
and put it back.
Yeah.
And she did that, and I was like, that's so disrespectful.
What? Why? How is that? What?
What she's done is she's like, I'm going to take the flavorful coffee here at the top and put it into my cup, and then I'm going to leave the watered down coffee for you.
How is that even a thing for you?
All right, let's think about this.
All right.
The coffee is dripping.
Yeah.
So you put let's go from the very beginning. You put a bunch of scoops of coffee in there and
into
you put
a filter.
That's right. You stick it in there. You push start, and it starts dripping. So you got all of this flavor immediately coming through because the water.
I disagree immediately with you. Fundamentally, that coffee, the water that is originally coming through the coffee, that coffee is not yet been exposed to the water long enough to release the flavor.
Well, maybe after 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds.
The first water that's going to come out of there is going to be less flavorful
No.
than the next
You
water.
have the rich, if you look at, if you compare the water that comes through the first time and the water that comes through it toward the end, the water that's coming through toward the end is almost, it's not clear, but it's really weak.
Lies.
At the beginning, it's dark and rich and full of coffee.
Lies.
So you've got a pot full of delicious, rich, flavorful coffee right at the very beginning, and it's also very, very strong. And then toward the end, you get more water because almost all of the coffee is coming through. The water comes through, and what it does is it creates a pot of balanced, flavorful, balanced coffee. But then when my wife took that first cup, she screwed the entire thing up, and she basically said, "Screw you! I don't care if you have flavorful coffee. I'm taking the delicious coffee here up front."
Well, she is the one going to work.
I don't think that's fair. I think it's disrespectful. I don't think she should be able to take the flavorful coffee.
Here's the thing. You're still home. Make another damn pot of coffee.
Yeah, but then what's to become of the end coffee that's in there? The last, that's weak little coffee in there.
Put
It's
it in a
almost like
saucepan.
I'm leaving this weak little coffee for my weak little husband. That's what she's saying.
No, what she's saying
She's like, I'm
is
taking all the strong, flavorful coffee because I'm the strong, flavorful person in this relationship.
she is the one going to work.
That's what
But-
well, I work. I'm an artist. I just work at home.
I know that, but she has to
Kiss
go.
my coffee butt.
She has to go somewhere. She doesn't get to play with the coffee.
No, I know, but it's just like, how hard is it to wait just another 5 minutes for the entire coffee to be perfectly balanced? The strong coffee has to mix with the weak coffee so that you have the perfect coffee. Instead, no, someone has to drink that first pot of strong, delicious coffee so that the other person is left with the weak ass coffee.
Did
And
we
that's
kn-
me. I'm
did-
left with that.
Did we know we were going down a Rick rant?
No, I'm just saying.
Uh-huh.
I'm just saying.
Did
I
we-
don't think
did-
it's fair.
Did we just experience a
I don't
Rick
think
rant?
it's fair. She didn't agree with me either.
Here's the thing. Let me just say maybe what she was trying
wrong.
to say. Nope. I have interpreted her actions, and I would like to tell you what she was trying to say from an objective point of view. So what she was trying to say to you was, sweetheart, I have to go to work. I'm going to take some coffee.
The delicious, rich coffee. That's what she was saying.
And I'm going to leave you
The weak
with
coffee,
some
you weak-ass
coffee,
man.
with some coffee water.
Yeah.
Now, what I would like you to do with this coffee water
Stick it up your butt, weak boy.
is perhaps make a pastry
No, she didn't
with
say
a
that at all.
cream inside,
didn't say that at all.
flavored
No.
with this lovely coffee water that I've left for you, so that when I come home from Atlanta traffic and hospital work,
No.
I get to find out that my husband, whom I love, has made me a beautiful pastry with a coffee filling with the water flavored of coffee that I left him this morning.
No. And in fact, how could I make anything? Because I'd be falling asleep because there's not enough caffeine in that coffee to keep me awake.
No, what you would do is you would take the rest of that pot, you would pour it in the pot so that you could start your pastries, and then you would make the coffee that you actually want to drink because you're a fucking adult. Make your own goddamn coffee.
She didn't agree with me either, and I think it's wrong. I just feel like whoever's taking that first cup of coffee, it's like, first of all, wait. Can you wait 2 minutes? Can you wait 3 minutes? And then you have a perfect cup of coffee, and then everybody else will too. No, I'm selfish. I want that rich, delicious coffee for myself. I'm taking that first cup, and I'm leaving you with the weak after coffee. I'm leaving you with the, what do they call it? The backwash. It's a backwash. It's just not been in someone's mouth yet. It's backwash coffee is basically what she left me with. And I don't think it's fair. I really don't think it's fair. And I think she shouldn't have done it. And I don't think that it's cool at all. I really don't.
You just tell yourself that.
All right. You talked about interpretation. I need your interpretation. I had a dream. I need you to interpret my dream.
I'm pretty good at interpreting dreams.
I used to be. I kind of think I
You
am.
have interpreted some of my dreams quite well.
I feel like I'm a pretty good dream interpreter, but this one I don't know. This is one that happened this morning, and I don't know what to think about it.
Okay.
All right. So I'm in a library. You know what a library is?
I was there once
They still have those.
as a child.
They still have them. You know what's weird is I don't have a library card. I've always had a library card, but I don't have a
You
library
don't
card
have a
now.
current library card?
I don't. And I almost got one
You know
the
why?
other day.
Because you have a Kindle account.
I do. I do. And Kindle's kind of like a library, but I need a library card as well. But anyway, I was in a library in my dream.
Okay.
I'm in a library.
Like
Big,
what kind? Like big? Like
multi-story. Yes.
Okay. So municipal library.
I'm in there. I'm in the library with my wife,
Uh-huh.
and so she's on.
Is she making coffee?
No, she's
Okay.
reading books, and she's on the second floor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on first floor.
Okay.
I don't know what that means. She's
I do.
higher than me. Okay.
Yep.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm on the first floor, and then I look, and I'm just wandering around, going through the library, and I look, and there's a dude, at a table, sleeping.
Okay.
Okay.
On the first floor of the library.
Yes, right in front of me. And then something from the ceiling falls down onto, I don't know, a table or some display or something. It falls and goes, makes a big noise.
You're triggering me, but go ahead.
Interesting. And just makes a loud noise. So my first thought, at least while I was there, was, a bird shit. That's what I thought. I thought it was bird
Okay,
shit.
so it was something small.
It was kind of small.
Okay.
But it just fell, and it was just like, oh, what was that? Did a bird crap? Was there a bird in the library? I don't know. It just went like that.
Did it splat?
It kind of splatted, made a noise, whatever. And the dude that was asleep, it woke him up. So he woke up, and then he kind of looked around at what that was, and then there was some noises
From where the dude was sleeping?
around that area.
Okay.
He gets up and runs out of the library. And I'm like, that's weird. What did he do that for? And then I started thinking, oh, crap, he knows something. The library ceiling is collapsing. That's what fell, and then the noise. So I took off running out of the library, and I start yelling for my wife to come out of the library.
But you didn't go get her.
No, she was at the place where she could see me or whatever. So I start yelling. But the weird thing is, you know my wife. Mm-hmm. You know who my wife is. Mm-hmm. I'm going, Linda! What? Linda!
Who the hell is Linda?
Her name in the library, in this dream, was
Linda.
I don't know why. And I'm screaming, Linda. My wife's name is Maria.
Right.
It's not even close. They
not.
both end in the A, but... And the library falls, and she doesn't come out.
Because she didn't hear you because you were calling Linda.
My name's not Linda, but her name was Linda in the dream, and then the library collapses, and
she died.
I think she did.
Well, she was in the collapsed library.
She was in the collapsed library. So that was my dream. I don't know what it means. I'm trying to figure out what it might mean.
Unfortunately, since I can't see your dream, I have a very hard time interpreting that.
Well, you can't see any of my dreams, but you can interpret them. What does that mean?
Well, no, it's easier to interpret a dream that you can actually visualize.
All right, here's the thing. We're in a library.
Uh-huh.
I'm on the first floor. She's on the second floor.
Uh-huh. I mean, she's better than you.
Her name is Linda. And the library crashes and falls and she dies. I'm assuming she dies. Those are the important things of that dream, I believe. And I don't know what it means. Here's one thing that I did.
And the way that you discovered that the library was about to collapse is interesting to me, because the way you discovered that it was about to collapse, in which you decided to save yourself, was that some sleeping man realized it first.
Yeah.
And tipped you off to it.
Someone unconscious
Tipped you off.
taught me about reality.
Yep. That's exactly what happened. Someone unconscious taught you the reality and the dangers of the building you were in.
Mm-hmm.
And you got out and you tried
To get my wife
to
out.
get your wife out.
Yeah.
And she could not see the danger because the unconscious person did not show her the danger. It just showed you.
Yeah. So here's one thing that I was talking, and I told my wife the dream this morning, which she thought was kind of funny. But so here's what
It's actually not funny.
Here's what
okay.
I realized about dreams. This is weird when I'm in relationships, because I always dream, because I frequently would dream about people I'm in relationships with, whether they're married or not.
Friendships, whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when I dream about someone that I'm in a relationship, it is either someone like I've dreamed about her before, but it's like when I see her, it's not really her. It's like it's like what it would look like if an actress was playing her. It's like it's kind of her, but it's not really her face.
It has the essence of her. It has a feeling of her.
Yeah, and sometimes it's like she's, we're both middle-aged, and it's like sometimes she's like 20-something.
Right, so logically
I'm still an
it's
old
her,
man,
but
and
yeah.
she's like some young chick.
Of course, because you see her as being better than
It's
you.
a dude dream. But anyway, but often when I dream about, when I'm dreaming about someone I'm in a relationship with, it's either they have a different face, a different person, or a different name.
That is so strange.
So it's like I would never dream about my wife as she looks right now with the name Maria, which is her name. So I would either change her name or her face, and she's Maria, or I change her name, she still has the same person, and she's Linda.
So maybe somewhere in your subconsciousness, you're doing that because you know that dream was about to be really bad. And
so I don't want her to be the actual person in it.
Right.
Huh.
So you're protecting either yourself or her by changing her identity so that your wife / the woman you know named Maria won't die in that library, but someone named Linda does.
Possibly.
So that you're not affected the same way.
Well, I mean, that's not the essence of the dream. That's not really what the meaning of the dream was.
No, I agree.
But I'm very curious about that aspect of my dreams. And I always feel like that it might have something to do with the fact that I like not really making a full connection with a person.
Right.
So it's like I'm either you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
I'm not
I do.
I'm not connecting with them as a whole person.
Right.
Just like part of them. So I
So what was
them.
my name in your dream?
I don't remember. I've dreamed about you a few times, but I don't remember. I remember when we did the Life in a Kilt podcast, I remember talking about a dream that I had where we went to, my wife and I, my current wife and I, we went to like Best Buy.
Yep.
And you sold us a refrigerator. You were an employee.
Because I want you to be cold.
I guess. I
want your food to be fresh.
You wanted to nourish us.
Now, I had a dream when you and I were just trying to be friends again and you were still pissed at me.
Yeah.
I had a dream which you interpreted perfectly because it was a pretty simple dream, to be honest with you. It was you and I in the dream, and we were walking together on a hill in the street. We were in the middle of the street. We were walking on this hill, and we were walking over this hill, and we had said something to each other, and I don't remember what that was, but we couldn't see where the hill was going to, because it was a hill. So you couldn't see what was beyond the hill.
Yes.
And it was very, very obviously me trying to interpret what our relationship was about to become.
Oh.
Do you remember that?
No, not really.
Okay. Well, it was a pretty intense dream, and when we spoke about it, I was driving, you were in the passenger seat, and I remember you saying, "Well, that's obvious," and you told me, and I was just like, "Yep." And then we just moved on.
Yeah.
And look where we've come.
Yeah.
So now we can see what's over the hill.
I took a class in dream interpretation when I was in college. It's always been something I liked, and usually I'm pretty good at that. Like, do you have recurring dreams? I think we talked about this.
Oh God, yeah. Especially as a younger person, but even now, sometimes. Actually, no. I would say over the last maybe decade, I haven't. But from the time I was maybe 6 years old until at least my mid-20s, late 20s, mid-30s, maybe. Yeah, absolutely.
I have a recurring dream of tornadoes. I think I might have mentioned this on the show before. It's one of those things that a lot happens in my dreams. And even like, I think recently I had one, and I never understood what that was about. And I was telling a friend of mine who also does some dream interpretation, and she said, I think tornadoes represents upheaval in your life.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, crap, that's true.
Yep.
And, you know, just like unpredictability and just upheaval and just things being tossed everywhere and thrown around and all that. And it made perfect sense. So, and I've discovered, like, when I dream about tornadoes, a lot of times that's what it's about. It's about pandemonium that's happening in my life or in my dreams or whatever. I love dream interpretation.
I do too. Actually,
cool.
it's pretty. You get to know yourself pretty well when you start interpreting your dreams. Keep a dream journal. Write that shit down. For me, the biggest one as an adult that I've had, because in recurring dreams as a child, I had several, but there was some mental illness involved that were causing them and or being affected by them. But as an adult, the recurring dream that I've had is not necessarily a recurring dream, but a recurring theme. And that theme has always been the brown bear. I'm not going to get too much into it, but like my spirit animal, if you will, or the animal is a brown bear.
Sure.
For me. And
I remember that bear.
Yeah, I bet you do. The bears that when I dream about them, they're eating people and demolishing things and killing and ripping and tearing.
Sure.
And it tends to happen when I feel rage building up.
Oh, wonder what that means.
Right? I mean, it's kind of fucking obvious. Yeah. So when I have these dreams, I'm like, maybe I should look at that. Maybe I should, do something. Maybe I should work on that a little bit. It's basically my subconscious saying, Cheri, you're about to explode. How about you do something?
Yeah.
And those are very vivid dreams. And what's funny is I enjoy those dreams.
Oh, wow.
So that says a lot more about me than I probably should have.
I don't like tornado dreams, but I do get them a lot. upheaval, I guess. I don't know.
I remember you having tornado dreams when you and I would have problems.
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, they were terrifying, and even now they're terrifying. Depends on, but sometimes they're like little tiny tornadoes, but they're just there.
Yeah.
And I think I had one even last week. But I'm trying to figure out what this one means. This one, and it's kind of the same thing. I mean, tornadoes throw shit everywhere. This is just a library crashing. But when you
it could have been crashing because of a tornado.
What is a library? Library information, library housing books information. So like the information possibly in my life crashing down, maybe. I don't know.
Or maybe
things, my ego, things that I know to be true, or I think I know to be true,
falling
could
apart.
be. What's the sleeping man, the unconscious man,
could be
teaching
the unconscious
me reality
you.
about survival?
The unconscious you.
My wife, who's not really even my wife, it's Linda.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to meet Linda.
Me too.
But she didn't listen to you. So why is she?
I think she might have. What was weird? What if her real name was Maria? I was calling her Linda, and she would have survived, except I was calling her the wrong name.
Because you had lost the information.
I guess. I don't know. If you're out there listening to the podcast, you're good at dream interpretation. Send something into thisepicdisaster@gmail.com. Tell me what the hell that means.
Deep.
So I can go on with my life. We have a couple of stories of people here going on with their life. First story, a Thai man
Oh, God, no.
undergoes 30 cosmetic procedures to make him look Korean.
Why would you do that to your face?
I just, all he had to do was move to America. I mean, that's all it takes, really. I would just say, do that.
And no one would know.
No one would know the difference. Unfortunately, just move to America, dude.
Oh, man.
Save yourself several thousand. All right, here's a story that now this is something that we can both agree on. Mm-hmm. We're not what you might call religious people. I used to be. I don't know. I think you did at the time. You went through a spell.
I did some studying.
I used to be very, very, very religious, and I'm not anymore. But this is a religion we can get behind, or at least a pastor. This pastor, he uses whiskey to get men closer to God.
I'm down. I'm there. Sign me up.
A German pastor, he thinks he may have found an effective way to approach the men in his community, and involves one of the greatest passions, whiskey.
Whiskey.
53-year-old Thomas Eschenbacher. He's
Eschenbacher?
a Franconian pastor from Hammelburg in Bavaria. He's long been looking for ways to approach men, talk to them about God and the Christian faith. It's not the easiest thing to do, especially in this day and age, but Eschenbacher thinks whiskey just may be the solution to his problem. I think it might be the solution to most problems, or many problems, not most. A big fan of the Scottish spirit, so it's Scotch whiskey, apparently. Ooh. The pastor noticed how easy it was to start a conversation about whiskey during a leisurely whiskey tasting. I think it's funny in this article how they go from whiskey, WHISKY to WHISKEY. They go back and forth.
I will stop you right there. I need to interject. When it said the Scotch...
Yes.
Okay, so
Scotch whiskey is with an E.
In Scotland, if it's spelled with an E,
yes,
it's considered Scotch.
I know, but they go back and forth in this whole thing. Sometimes they're saying whiskey with no E and sometimes not.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, he decided to use the same catalyst to get through to men in matters of religion. He recently announced that he was organizing a whiskey retreat for men.
Okay.
And all 30 spots were sold out instantly. I think everybody suddenly got religion. Mm-hmm. Bible readings don't really work, but with whiskey, I can teach men it's a topic that interests them, he told the German press agency. During the 3-hour whiskey retreat scheduled for January 11th, we could still make it.
We
today,
can't.
Isn't it?
It's today.
Dang it. The pastor hopes to use the spirits to not only start a conversation about faith, I don't know what that means, but also to help participants slow down their life and reflect on their existence. Our time is so crowded. We always want to clarify everything in 8 hours. A whiskey needs at least 10 years to be good, and so my message is not short term.
So he wants to teach you about whiskey.
Aging, yes.
About aging
the
whiskey.
benefits of aging,
and
like
about
whiskey.
the benefits of patience.
Yes.
And all of those things.
I think so.
I like it.
And just drinking good whiskey. Yeah.
It works well.
I remember when I was actually involved more in church stuff. There was when I was in church, one of the I think it was the music pastor went to a conference in Europe. It was like a church music conference, and he said it was so weird because all the American pastors, music pastors, would, when they had lunch, they would pull out their Diet Cokes or Cokes or whatever, and all the other European pastors will pull out a beer.
Because that's what you drink with lunch.
And, this was a Baptist association, and so the European Baptists were drinking beer.
Because I'm just going to say this out loud.
What?
Religion in America has become it started out so staunch on this is bad, you're a heathen, you're a sinner, you're a blah, 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 blah. And that just became stuck in the culture that now it's almost against God to have a drink, which in my opinion is wrong. I mean, Jesus was drunk half the time in the Bible.
Well, he wasn't drunk. He was drinking.
Wine. He was drinking.
Or making wine.
Making wine, drinking wine, enjoying wine with his people,
Partying.
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But and the culture in Europe, which is where the original Americans came from in the first place, was that you had a beer at lunch.
Sure.
You had or whatever their break was. You had alcohol with your meal.
Yeah. And there's no reason
you can't.
There's a scripture where Paul says avoid strong drink, but what is strong drink? That could be Diet Coke. I mean, if you're
That's
Mormon,
strong. That's pretty
if you're
strong.
Mormon, that's what you say.
Coffee.
You stay away from caffeine,
Right.
Unless your wife is taking the best part of the coffee.
Oh my God.
Which even happens to Mormons, I've heard.
No, they don't drink. Well, they'll drink it
happens
iced
to me.
because they can't have hot beverages.
No, they can't. I don't know about the hot, but they don't drink coffee. They don't drink coffee. They don't drink Coke.
I've
unless
heard
it's
they don't.
decaf.
They don't drink hot beverage.
I don't know about that.
I have heard that from a Mormon.
I don't know.
They don't
Okay.
drink hot beverage.
I don't know. I've seen a couple of Mormons who were a hot beverage.
As have I.
Marie Osmond, I'm talking to you. Anyway,
She's a hot beverage.
yeah. Anyway, okay. I'm going to wrap it up. I think we can wrap it up. We're getting silly. I have drank all of my brew.
Wow, are we there already?
I'm feeling a little, because I haven't
That
had
was
a
a
lot.
fun conversation. Thank you for that.
It was. I'm feeling a little barely buzzy because I haven't had a lot to drink today, and this says 8.2.
You mean I haven't had a lot to eat today?
Eat. I haven't had a
You
lot to
said
eat.
drink,
Sorry about
but
that.
you meant eat.
I just noticed the bottom of my glass says IKEA. I didn't realize we bought these in IKEA. But anyway, and then I'm getting into detail now.
IKEA.
A lot of detail. But we want to talk about that. What do you think of the brewski? What do you think of this beer that we have?
Well, okay, let's see.
Wild Heaven
Ode
Breweries.
to Mercy.
Ode to Mercy.
It tells me on the can that it's an imperial brown ale
Yes.
aged on bourbon oak chips and spices. It's definitely got some spice flavor, and that was obvious when we first opened the beer. It's still obvious to me because I still get that in the back of my throat after every drink. The bourbon, I can taste that as well. And again, an imperial brown ale is just right up my alley. So I'm
The Imperial Brown Bear in your dreams.
This is not up my alley. That would be frightening. It's definitely part of me, but yeah, I dig it. I'm down.
Yeah? What do you
Yeah.
think?
Like, you want me to rate it?
Yeah, give it a number. That's what we usually do, right?
Yeah, we do. I could have another one of these, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it. And I'm not in a beer mood, to be
Uh-huh.
honest with you, which sucks. Because let me tell you why. I have to go to my holiday
Oh, that's right.
party
At a
tonight.
beer
At a
place.
brewery.
Yeah.
I'm going to Orpheus Brewing
Wow.
tonight for my office party, and I have to drink. Well, I don't have to, but they have beer.
Well, they have good beer there. We've
They
had
have-
a few on the
we've
show.
had a few on the show.
Yeah.
So I'm going tonight, and I'm going to have some. But I would like another one of these.
Don't spill it. What give it a number. What are you rating it?
3.5.
Wow. Okay. I was going to rate it a 3.5 as well, but I'm going to rate it a 3. I did enjoy this. It's leans on the sweet, but I like the flavors. The only reason I'm not going to go with the other half is it needs some more carbonation. And
You like that carbonation.
I do, but if I'm having a beer, and I don't drink a lot of sodas anymore, but I like it to be a little burny in there. I like for the carbonation, and some people don't like that. It's got a great flavor. It's not overwhelming, but it's very tasty, and I enjoy it. I really like it. As you can see, I drank all of mine, and I probably could have another one too.
Yeah.
And it does kind of get a little buzzy. I'm feeling a little bit
I
of
did
it.
tell your wife to have one. Maybe she will. Maybe she'll try it.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good one. All right, well, that's cool. So you say 3 and a half? I'm saying 3. So it was a success. Ode to Mercy was
Yay.
a success.
And so Wild Heaven Beer, they are here in Atlanta. Avondale Estates, as a matter of fact, right up the road.
Right down the street from us.
Nice.
Well, we have come to the end of this epic disaster, but you know what? The disasters keep going on all week. Please tell us about your disasters if you would like. Just send us an email at thisepicdisaster@gmail.com. We are on the internets.
All over the place.
We have our own website, thisepicdisaster.com. You could go there. You can download the shows from there. We try to put interesting things up there. We're going to try to do even more interesting things as we go along. You can find us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, This Epic Disaster. You can get some updates that way. We're on the Twit. We're on the
Do me a favor.
Instagram.
Do me a favor. For those listeners who follow us on Facebook. Those of you, just one time, just once, do it tomorrow, do it the next day, do it next week, doesn't matter. Share our podcast.
Yes, please.
Just share it publicly.
Don't cost nothing.
It doesn't cost you anything.
We love you for it.
Put a little comment that says, I listen to this, or I recommend this, or don't hate me because I like this. Whatever you want to put out there.
Sure.
Just share it.
And then if you're feeling really brave, go to the place where you download the podcast, give us a rating, give us a ranking, put some stars to give a sentence, tell us what you think of the podcast. And you can share it with your friends and family and all of that kind of good stuff. It just helps us out.
It does.
We would like to have some more people come in and join the fun. We love the people who are here now. We love that you
all
keep
of them.
listening, and we thank you for it. Any kind of suggestions that you would like to make, feel free to email them to us. We will read them on the air. We'll talk about you on the air. We might even give you a little nickname like we do
if you don't
sometimes.
already have one.
That's right. And we'll be back and we'll talk about beer as we normally do and other things. Is that it? Did we talk about everything we needed to talk about today?
I think we did. But I would like to reiterate what Rick was talking about earlier. Here in this new year, we do intend to put a little more structure to our podcast and have some more fun things going on. We might even be working on some sketch comedy.
I have some ideas.
So stay tuned. Enjoy the fun. Join in the fun. And thank you for listening.
Yeah, bye. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
That was a little harsh. I'm sorry.
I think it was.
I meant to say goodbye.
This is a Violet Jester Media podcast.